All right, let's do this. Today, we're going to be reading a couple letters from adults, probably my age or older, to their teen selves. You've probably encountered this before. I think, you know, happens every year. Some adult writes to their teen self, and you, as a teen, are supposed to get something out of it. A lot of times, teens put too much pressure on themselves. So, we're also looking at perspective here or point of view. So, you at 13 or 14, when you get to be my age, whatever, 30 years from now or so, you'll probably have a different perspective. You might be a little bit more relaxed. I don't know. It's tough being a teen, even more difficult. I think I've said it in class, even more difficult with social media. So there's like so many spotlights on you. We're going to read two stories today. We're going to get into a little bit of the background today, just a little bit though, because we covered the background already last Thursday and Friday. But these two letters are called You Are the Electric Boogaloo and Just Be Yourself. And if you remember that breakdancing thing, the second movie, because the first one was so good, you saw how good it was. The second one was called Breaking Two, Electric Boogaloo. So that's going to be the breakdancing one, and then Just Be Yourself. So let's take a look at some of the background here. Right here. You are the Electric Boogaloo. Breakdancing or breaking, experts now, is an athletic style of street dance that originated in New York City in the 1970s. Breakdancing has continued to grow in popularity and is now performed in many different countries. So I don't know if that's true. I thought we had to go over breakdancing just for a little bit because I don't see it that much. I don't see it that much, but maybe you do. Maybe it's around. And here's the next one, and it says, Just be yourself. There is so much to learn and no way to tell what the future will hold. This author writes a reassuring letter to her younger self saying that it will all work out in the end. And just a quick look here at the authors. The breakdancing one, yeah, he looks my age at least. Jeff Herbach, and you can see he's the author of the series Stupid Fast. Never heard of it, but probably pretty good. I like this part here. This sounds, for an old guy like myself, this sounds pretty good. He lives in a log cabin in Minnesota and teaches creative writing. That must be a pretty good life, right? Living in a log cabin in Minnesota. Pretty quiet if you like quiet life. Probably has the internet, probably has Amazon. What else do you need? And this woman here, Stephanie Pellegrin, she was in second grade when she wrote her first book. So she lives in Austin. We're not going to go over the standards. Gosh, look at that stuff. Just know that we'll get all that stuff as we read. So let's get the two letters here, if I can. Hide this. Boom. You are the Electric Boogaloo. We could. I don't know if this will work, but
You
we
are
could.
the Electric Boogaloo.
I don't know if you can hear that, but I can. It's kind of a robotic voice, which is why I like to read it for you. Now, you may hate that too. You may like, I just want to read that myself, and you will be able to. There will be copies, back table with red roses, medicine bag. But for now, I would like to read it to you. All you have to do is sit back, relax, and listen. All right, let's do it. Dear Teen Me. Now, I think they said this would be yeah, this is oh, yeah, you are the Electric Boogaloo. This is the breakdancing one first. Dear Teen Me. Humiliation and hilarity are closely linked. So, of course, you know what humiliation is, right? Being humiliated. Hilarity means super funny. Hilarity. They're closely linked, my little friend. Don't lie there in bed, your guts churning as you replay the terrible scene. I'm glad your shirt stuck to the floor. So something very embarrassing must have happened to this person. I love your breakdancing crew, okay? You and your friends from rural Wisconsin hills have that Key Tell how to album, including posters and diagrams. So I am not sure what this is, but through context clues, we can probably think like when we got the background, this started in New York City. They live in Wisconsin. Maybe nobody around them is doing breakdancing, but they might have a how-to album. Back then, you might have to listen to a record, but and it looks like they have posters and diagrams to help you with your own breakdancing. You pop. I think we saw some of that popping and breaking. I'm not going to do it myself. You worm. You might know the worm. You might know the worm. You spin on your backs. You windmill. In fact, you're not even that bad. I love your silver butterfly pants with 46 zippers. Maybe like that guy we saw in breaking who had like 6, 7 belts or whatever. 46 zippers. Can never have enough zippers. That burst red fabric when you spin. Beautiful. I love when you take your giant piece of cardboard, mobile dance floor, down to the corner of Case Street, Highway 81 to dance for traffic. Maybe you're right. Maybe a talent scout will be driving between Stitzer and Hazel Green. Maybe you will be discovered. Keep at it. I love that you have the guts to go into Kennedy Mall in Dubuque, Iowa, to dance across from Hot Sam's Pretzels. So there we go. We got a little of the mall culture coming in too. But he goes from Iowa to Wisconsin, so maybe he is doing well. You and your buddies go for broke in front of a small, glum crowd who all eat Hot Sam's pretzels. And when security comes to escort you out, you scream, "Dancing is not a crime." I love that. I especially love what happened at Dubuque's Five Flags Center a few months ago. You and your crew, Break-In Fixation, I guess that's their name. Maybe like a band, breakdancing crews have or had names. I don't know. Challenged Dubuque's 4+1 crew to a dance off. We saw a dance off. We saw that. You practiced. You got t-shirts with your crew name emblazoned on them. You worked hard and you daydreamed harder. You imagined the roaring crowd lifting you onto their shoulders. You didn't expect the Five Flags floor to be so sticky. There was a little foreshadowing at the beginning of this letter, so we might know what's happening. You didn't expect sweat through your new shirt. You didn't expect the flesh of your back to be gripped and twisted so that it felt like it was on fire. You didn't expect it, but that's how it was. And it hurt so bad that instead of spinning into a windmill, the main part of your routine, you just writhed on the floor, howling. So, big event. There's a dance off, like that gang fight we almost saw, but with dancing. Okay, sure. People laughed at you. And you know why? Because you looked really funny. Don't stay awake worrying about it, though. Don't wonder what you should have done differently. Don't beat yourself up, gut boiling with embarrassment. Don't imagine punching out the members of 4+1. You can't blame them for wearing slick Adidas tracksuits that didn't grip the floor. Just go to sleep, kid. Get ready for the next dance. It's all going to be okay. It's all going to be great. Okay? How do I know? Because now, so many years later, you can barely remember your victories, although there were some. What you think about now are the high wire acts, the epic falls, and the punishing jeers of your classmates. You think about how excellent it is that you just got up, dusted yourself off, and with utter seriousness of purpose, tried again. One thing that I should mention here, I wanted to mention at the beginning, this is written in second person point of view. One of the rare times that we'll see this, but the letter is directed to like you, the reader. But in reality, it's, the older person's 14-year-old self or whatever. Your immense dorkiness as a teen will be the center of your artistic life, the center of your sense of humor, the center of ongoing friendships with so many of the kids you knew back then. You guys never discussed the relatively boring victories. You only talked about the grand, majestic, hilarious failures. What if you hit it big what if you hit it big at that contest? Would you be a professional breakdancer now? Would success have gone to your head? Or would you be a rich banker or a lawyer? Terrible. But instead, you stuck to that floor with your back on fire, with the pain, and you screamed. Don't beat yourself up over it, okay? Just relax. Keep dancing by the highway, you splendid little dork. All right, so that is one man talking to himself as a younger person. And it seems like things worked out with him. It seems like he has a pretty good career. He publishes some novels, lives in a log cabin in Minnesota. So that's why we've talked about it in a couple classes. I'm not sure about in every class, but maybe you do one thing and you don't do this other thing, and it just kind of sends your life in a different direction. So if he had done really well with the breakdancing battle, how different would his life be now? Maybe he wouldn't have been a writer. Maybe he would have been a breakdancing person. I don't think there are many breakdancing professionals though. Maybe he could have gone on that show. What is it? It's not The Voice, but America's Got Talent. Maybe as a 45-year-old guy breakdancing. Probably things worked out best, but that happens all the time. When you have like your first breakup or your second breakup. I mean, they really hurt. They really hurt. But in the long run, hopefully you'll meet that right person, that perfect person, and it's all worth those other breakups happening, because you had to find the right person. All right, we have one more letter to read here, and this is just be yourself. This is tough, I know, for middle school and high school students. It's tough for every generation. Like just be who you are, and then the people that like you, you'll meet them. When you're fake, you might meet the wrong people, but I think we all do it as teenagers. You'll find out who you are probably by the end of high school and college. I mean, some of you probably have already found out, but I just remember I'm thinking of myself in middle school. It was a train wreck. It was pretty embarrassing. All right, just be yourself though. Right at the top there. Dear teen me. Psst, hey, you in the corner of the library with your nose stuck in a book. Yes, you. Don't you recognize me without that awful perm? Do you? Remind me again why you thought that was a good idea. Perm. I'm not sure if perms are a big thing these days, but in the 80s, when you had your hair like they would say, teased up, so the big hair of the 1980s. Anyway, I hope you don't mind if I sit with you for a minute, but we need to talk. Don't worry about the no talking in library rule. I'm sure we'll be fine. Librarians aren't as bad as they seem. Judging from your hair and braces, I mentioned this in a couple classes. I'm not sure if you noticed it. I did, but when the mall culture video we watched, those braces, they stuck out. They're making braces a lot better these days, like less metal. You can't see them as much, but back then it was a thing. Judging from the hair and braces, I'd have to guess you're in your junior year. Yes, thought so. I've forgotten how many lonely lunch hours you spent in the school library. You must have some friends in the cafeteria that you could sit with, but you don't feel like you really fit in, do you? That's why you joined every club in school you could. I just counted and you're in 18, not to mention the numerous after school activities you're involved in. I mean, honestly, you joined the ROTC. You don't even like ROTC. Sometimes you'll hear this called ROTC. I don't remember what it stands for, but it's kind of like a military. They might tell us right here. It's kind of like abbreviation for Reserved Officers Training Corps. That's how you pronounce that, Corps. I know it looks like corpse, but it's Corps. A college-based training program for the military. So in high school, you'll know everybody who's in ROTC or ROTC because I think it's like on Wednesdays maybe they have to wear their uniforms at school. But apparently this girl, this junior who's sitting in the library isn't really geared for the military, but she joined it anyway. And I won't even bother bringing up that time you tried ballet. I'm still having nightmares about the fifth position. Let me ask you, has it all worked out? Not very well. Am I right? By spending so much time trying to find yourself, you're slowly losing yourself. Why don't you all have one single rock star talent? Oh, sorry, geez. We don't all have one single rock star talent. And honestly, I think those of us who don't are the lucky ones. Life isn't about finding the one thing you're good at and never doing anything else. It's about exploring yourself and finding out who you really are on your own terms in your own way. You don't have to exhaust yourself to do that. Yeah, so I would encourage you, if I had a little fatherly teacher advice or whatever, you should try out different things in high school. Try out as many as you can. 18 might be a little overboard, but hey, if you don't try it, you'll never know if you don't like it. Oh, don't be so down in the dumps about it. You'll eventually find something you're good at, I promise. It's a long, winding road to get there, but you'll find it. Being able to spend all day doing what you love or one of those things that you love is the most amazing feeling in the world. And no, I won't tell you what it is. So don't even ask me. Just remember to always be yourself because there's nobody else who can do it for you. I think E.E. Cummings put it best. It was a poet from a long time ago, E.E. Cummings. Put it best when he says, it takes courage to grow up and become who you really are. Yeah. And I think it takes time. It definitely takes time. Look, looks like the bell is about to ring, so I'll leave you to your book. What are you reading anyway? Oh, The Last Battle by C.S. Lewis. I should have guessed. You should give those Harry Potter books a try. I saw you roll your eyes. I know they seem like just another fad, but trust me, they're better than you think. They got a real future. So if this person is able to read Harry Potter books, then maybe they're not as old as I thought they were. But those are the letters for today. A little bit of background on all of the authors. We probably have what, 10, 5 minutes left in class. Sometimes I'm really good at guessing the amount of time, sometimes not so good. But there will be a Google form in the future, maybe a class discussion on these two letters. Hope you enjoyed them as much as you could. Like I said, all eighth graders will be reading these things this year.